My name is Seamus O'Sullivan, and today I'm going to be talking to you about project managers and business cases. So the theme of my talk is that most methodologies will hold that the business case is something that a project manager inherits, that it's owned by a project sponsor or a project executive. But in this talk, I want to put a slightly different emphasis in that why the project manager needs to assume a degree of responsibility for the business case, but also why they're ideally placed to do so. A little bit about me and why I'm in some way qualified to stand up here and talk on the subject. I've been in project program portfolio management for nearly 20 years now. I know my youthful looks don't necessarily suggest that. And originally started in construction, so my projects there would have been around viaducts, installations of pallet handling systems, submarine hangars. Moving on then to software development, particularly in the educational environment, things like broadband rollouts. But also early in my career I did a lot of consultancy work around option studies and feasibility studies, which would have looked at financial analysis, scenario planning, business case assessment, and risk. And it's that interest in business that attracts me to this subject, because quite often you don't get that much of a blend between project management and the business side of things. Also, in my previous role before joining Acando, I was head of project management, and one of my key roles there was to head up the project selection group. So for a development group of about 150, any project that went into that development group has to go past the project selection committee. So over the years, I've reviewed hundreds of business cases. A little bit about Acando. It's one of the top 5 IT consultancies in Europe, over 1,000 employees across 5 countries. And Acando is all about raising the bar for project and program success. So what we do is we provide project managers, program managers, business analysts in an assured service that creates the environment for every project and program to succeed. And succeed is an important word there, because we define success as getting the value intended from that project, not just delivering the project. And that's a theme you'll hear in my talk throughout. So when is a project a failure? Anybody? Pardon?
From the get-go.
From the get-go, yeah. Starting off from the wrong point. When it never finishes. Yes, we've been there in a few of those. Interestingly, the Stanish group, who are recognized as an authority that track project successes and failures, hold that a project is an unqualified success if it delivers within 10% of its budget, its timescale, and quality. Now, interesting, no mention of benefits in there. So I'd like to explore that a little bit. So is a project a failure when it's late? I would argue not necessarily. Now, there's no doubt that estimating is a fine art, yeah? A black art, some would say. And the only thing you can be sure is whatever the answer you come up with is probably not going to be right at the end. But unless you're doing the Olympics and delivering it for a very specific date, the chances are it's not critical. If something goes so late that it obviously negates the business's benefits, then yes. But otherwise, it's a date that is a target that was set from the beginning. So being late is not necessarily a failure. It's a similar story with budget. We've all played the budget game. And then an initial estimate is produced. Every layer of management adds or takes a slice out of it, saying it can be done better, faster, cheaper, more efficient. We know that's going to happen, so we pad the estimates at the beginning anyway to allow for the fact that it's going to be cut. So what you end up with is a negotiated number. It's not a hard business case analyst number. And again, how critical is it? If your project P&L over its total life cycle goes into the red because it went 20% over budget, or even 30% over budget, then it probably wasn't a very sound project business case in the first place. So again, not necessarily a failure if it goes over budget. However, if you get to the end of your project, assuming you get to the end of your project, and the business doesn't accept it, or the process isn't adopted, or the customer didn't like the output, there's no way of glossing over the fact that this is a project failure.